peers. Maybe we agree, maybe we disagree, but it's out there, and Bill's doing a great job. So props to you, Bill. Thank you so much for being a part of Blind Knowledge. Can't wait to have Bill on one of these interviews. It's going to happen soon. It's very exciting. So again, that's The Way. Check it out on Spotify, Apple, and everywhere else. Now, folks, without further ado, I know it's been painful. I know you've been waiting. You've been harnessing this energy. Well, don't worry. We're bringing him on now. This man is a legend.
It froze as soon as you said that. I gotta wait for it to catch up.
He knows it's the man. He's not a vegetable. Man, the man's all beef. He's Chunk McBeef Chest. Dude, thank you for joining me. I'm so pumped to have you. How are you?
I'm really good. Today is a national holiday in Japan, and I don't know which one. It's probably respect for some old people.
Respect for old people in Japan. Now, anyone that doesn't know, I am located on the East Coast of the United States of America. America. Fuck yeah. Anyway, Chunk, or Mr. McBeef, he is over in Japan, near Tokyo, somewhere over there.
I live close to a city called Nagoya. It's the third biggest city in Japan. Cool. It was only destroyed in one Godzilla movie, so it's kind of got a lot of catching up to do. It's an industrial hub, though, because they have a port, so it's where all the boats come in and out for the country.
Sneaking in the sugar.
Well, it's a lot of like marijuana.
Well, that's kind of what I was going for. I went cocaine, you went marijuana. But hey, it's all good stuff. You probably need it. That actually just gets me off track. But is marijuana actually legal, decriminalized?
Oh, no. Japan is going to be one of the last countries that legalizes anything, because they just see every drug as being bad. You will get the same sentence for marijuana as you would for a harder drug, for like a cocaine or a meth or something like that.
Oh God, cocaine, meth. What happened? I missed it. We're back.
Okay. No, drugs are highly, like, just illegal, and they're all treated the exact same way. So if you got arrested for marijuana, it would probably be a similar or the same sentence if you got arrested for cocaine or something.
Get the fuck out of here. Really?
Japan's going to be one of the last countries in the world to legalize anything, because they're just stuck in this one narrow thing. Alcohol's fine. You can be an alcoholic, and they think that's awesome.
That don't make sense.
But marijuana, unacceptable. And they're not changing anytime soon.
Well, I'm sorry to Japan, but this is absolutely, this is 5 honeycombs. Beautiful piece. This is for tobacco.
When they legalized marijuana in Canada, they decided in Japan, if you're a Japanese citizen, you go to Canada, you smoke marijuana, you come back, they'll still arrest you.
Really? What are they, blood tests or something?
They will just basically, this is it. They plan. It's one of those things where they'd interview you and trick you into saying it. And if you said, I tried, I had a marijuana brownie when I was there, and it's like, okay, well, thanks. Now, if you go, you're off to jail.
Wow. For how long?
I don't know. I didn't hear about any people actually being dumb enough to say I did it. But I mean, I guess they could pee test you if they wanted to. It's, I mean,
it lasts a while. It lasts at least 30 days, at least.
I heard it sits in your fat longer. For a really long time. So.
It does. Yeah. The larger your belly, the more, what is it called? It's like visceral fat, the bad fat. The more of that you have, the longer it stays in your system, basically. If you smoke regular, awesome, just the actual flower, and I know way too much about this, but if you smoke just the actual flower, you're looking at about 30 days if you don't work out. And then if you're smoking, where is it? I have my vapes around here somewhere. Usually I have it around my neck, but this was a special occasion and I wore a collared shirt. But nice. For the vapes, I mean, up to 90 days, it'll just sit there. Yeah. So some 300, 400 pound guy, you look at it 6 months. That poor bastard. Yeah. But that's crazy, man, because, you know, I grew up in Massachusetts, up in northeast of the United States of America, and it was illegal, and then it was decriminalized, and then the streets started smelling beautiful, And then everyone kind of perked up and realized, oh shit, we can tax the shit out of this, make a shitload of money.
That's it. When the taxes started rolling in, Colorado had a surplus of money.
Colorado was the first one. I actually did a show with my friend John, who did a show called On the Edge with John Doherty at the Gag Order Network, now Gayru Network, GEAUX.com. What's up, Jay? Anyway, I was the producer of that show, and we started talking about Denver and Colorado and how they were the first ones. They were the first ones to start doing this, to decriminalize and to legalize it full force. They brought in enough tax revenue to give a laptop to every single child in Colorado at no cost, with surplus left over. Unbelievable. $300 million were made in Massachusetts on the first year when they legalized it. Down here, though, in Florida, where I live now, I live in in the peninsula of Florida, which gets a bad rap, and sometimes deservedly so. It's okay if you have a medical marijuana license, which I do. I do have a medical marijuana license. I'm all for that too. You get what's safe, you know what you're getting, all that. But so, like, let's say I'm smoking a blunt, McBeef, McCheese, McChunk. I'm gonna think of like 70,000.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pick one and maybe stick with it. But at least I know who you're talking to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just went on this huge rant about marijuana, but getting back to what we were talking about. So, like, let's say I'm smoking a blunt or just a joint or something, and I'm in Japan and they arrest me. How long of jail time am I looking at?
Oh no, it's because you're not Japanese, they would probably just deport you, and then you wouldn't be allowed. Yeah, you'd never come back though.
Kick me out, can't come back.
Yeah, Paris Hilton was refused entry because she had a conviction in America. Like she released some perfume, let's say. I think it was something like that. She flew her private jet into Japan. I assume didn't check first. They're like, "Are you Paris Hilton who went to jail last year?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, you can go now." And that was it. I mean, they don't mess around. I mean, it's good and bad. It's pretty clear. Robert Downey Jr., when he was promoting Iron Man, he was only allowed to stay for 3 days, and they had to pay for a handler, so someone to watch him to make sure he didn't commit any crimes. Because he'd had drug offenses in the past. Wow.
So no matter the status, no matter the social, economic status, doesn't matter. They'll just boot you out.
Oh, yeah. And so if you're a Japanese person, let's say you're a famous Japanese person and you get caught with drugs, you lose everything. There's a video game series called Yakuza, and they use famous Japanese people as all the bad guys and stuff are all famous actors. And this one guy got caught with amphetamines of some sort. They took him out of the video game and swapped out his face.
Really?
Like, I mean, that's just the tip of it.
They scraped him.
Yeah, basically. No, he just stopped. He did not exist anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just a huge risk.
Why is that? Does it go back to like this Japanese culture, like the Shinto and like the very strict, like
the drugs,
bury your body?
They're very, very conservative about drugs. Like a drug that is approved by the FDA usually goes through 10 more years of testing before it's legal in Japan. So there's been I'm learning
a lot here. I'm learning a lot. Wow.
Well, they're really cautious about anything like that. And then this is they go back to the history. It's like really ironic because they've done awful things. They're right now paying out restitution to some people that they sterilized back in the 50s.
Sterilized, like choppy the PP?
No, I think it was chemical castration of some sort. But basically they had people with mental issues and they just sterilized them, but without telling anybody. It was like, oh, we'll take care of that, and they did. And now in 2020, whatever, they're starting to pay money to these people when they realized that it was like no one agreed to it. They're just like, oh, take care of that. That'll be done. It's a weird sort of mentality where the government can almost do whatever it wants, and they get away with it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It doesn't sound like much of a democracy.
It's a democracy in name.
Kind of.
Civil rights, human rights are very different. It's actually something that a lot of people, when they come over, they're confused by, because Americans, particularly, because like from TV and media stuff, it's like my First Amendment rights and these rights that they just don't exist outside of your country. They don't realize it.
We feel I can definitely talk on behalf of some Americans, just some. And we feel that we are the amendments. They travel with us.
Yes.
They're basically in our passport. When someone bothers us in like somewhere wacky, like even like Japan, with me smoking a joint, I just show them my passport. I'm American. I have the First Amendment. That's like that's our mentality. That's our thought process, which is so wrong.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that like their world doesn't travel with them, and that's really what they run into. And interacting with the police, if you touch a police officer, you can be arrested. Like if you just like touch his arm really gently, that's they don't call it assault. It's interfering with police business. And so they basically they have these blanket rules.
I like some good bullshit.
Oh yeah, no. They have my favorite one. It's a law. It's incredibly vague, and it's interfering with business practices. And you can be arrested. Basically, if you disrupt a business in any way, you can be arrested.
So wait, hold on. I need clarification on this one. Yeah. So if let's say I got a hot dog, or sushi's big over in Japan, right?
Yep.
All right. And pardon me if I get some things wrong. I'm just trying to learn. We're trying to educate here on Knowledge's Degree. And you are the Ninja News Japan man. So I got lists of questions for days because I know nothing about it and I want to learn. We should all know. But man, I have so many questions here. I should have put them in different colors. Over there, have you ever been to the U.S.? Let's start there. Have you ever been to the US?
I lived in Vancouver, which is like a 3-hour drive to Seattle.
As much as you want to be, but you're not the United States yet. Oh, Seattle.
No. But it's a day trip to go to Seattle, and so it's the kind of thing you do all the time. So let's go to Seattle for the afternoon.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's most of the big cities are really close to the border. I lived in Ottawa, which is about a 6-hour drive from New York. I lived in Vancouver, which is, again, maybe 3 hours if you're not pushing it to go to Seattle. And so I went around, and back in my university days when I did judo pretty seriously, I would do competitions. So I did a competition in Colorado. Like
pretty good at judo?
All over the place. I was. I don't know if I am now, but
Chunk McBeef Chest, throwing down some haymakers, or
I was the first foreign person to get his black belt in Aichi, which is like the state I'm in.
Ooh! Wow! So I need a sound effect for that. I need like a woo, Chunk McBeef Chest. That's cool as hell. No, that's noble.
So if you came to Japan right now to where I live and did a black belt test, they would give you a sample form to copy. That's my form.
It's your form.
Yeah, because they just cut out bits of my name, but they're like, it's in English. So if you're a foreign person here, you need to fill out this form. Here's an example. It's my example.
Interesting. You're the template.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's very cool. Is judo like Muay Thai, or is it more like karate?
No, it's more throwing and wrestling. So karate and Muay Thai, karate and Muay Thai have like punching and kicking. That's kind of their main thing. Judo would almost be the antithesis to that, where you're grabbing and throwing and tripping, and then if they hit the ground, you wrestle.
Okay.
And then they do like arm locks and chokes and stuff like that.
That makes sense. Sometimes I need that clarification. You got MMA, UFC wrestling, amateur wrestling. You got judo, Muay Thai, all that. So how long did you do that, McBeef Chest?
It's
on your travels through life.
Years now. I started when I was 10. I did it all through university. When I was like big, I was pretty serious, and I thought I went to the Canadian Nationals and broke some fingers, and that was the end of that aspect of that career.
Could you try to break some wood?
No. So you grab each other, and the guy took my fingers and pulled them backwards to get my hand off, which is illegal, but it was just an accident. I don't know. I want to say it's an accident because I don't want to disparage him, but part of me.
We're looking for him. We'll be looking for him. We can find him.
He didn't go very far after that. It wasn't going to work out for him. He was never going to be that guy.
Is that well respected over in Japan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's not sumo's the national sport, but judo's the one that everyone gets in the Olympics. I mean, that's where they win all their medals is in the Olympics in judo. So.
That's cool. Yeah, I wish we had more of that influence over here, honestly. More of that, like, I don't wanna mock you, but like more like namaste kind of thing. And
Yeah,
I'm
it's
yeah,
no,
I don't want you to take that the wrong way because I don't mean it that way.
no, it's
Uh,
discipline. I mean,
that's the word.
namaste is a
Yeah.
philosophy.
Yes.
But it's all
Yes.
about even yoga. Like yoga is people make fun of it because it's all hippie stuff, but it's
I love it.
actually discipline, and you're stretching and getting to these poses. I have a
And
great deal of
breathe.
respect for yoga.
I
Like
love yoga.
it's tough.
It is tough, man. It's hard. It's hard. If you've ever hurt your back, though, and this is to everyone out there listening, if you've ever hurt your back, swimming, yoga, and just running were the only
Yeah.
things that helped me. Running. I always felt better. Like I'd run like 4 miles. I used to run a lot. I used to be in good shape once, and I still am. You can't see it. I'm just puffed up with a pillow. But anyway, I'd run 4 miles and then I'd just collapse. I used to actually sleep on the floor. I didn't have a box spring. And is it like that over there? You guys, it seems like things, maybe it's stereotypes, but you guys, you take your shoes off. The tables are lower. Are the beds lower and everything? Are
Yeah,
things lower?
generally,
Yeah.
people do still sleep on like tatami mats. Like that's not unusual,
Tell me,
and
man. I gotta
that's
Google
just a
that.
mat. Like if you just imagine like a mat in a Japanese, like again, your stereotypical image, that's accurate in this case. The
Okay.
tatami mat is just a mat. They fill up rooms with it. All right, sorry, my dog's freaking out. Just give me a second.
Well, this is a good time to mention one of our podcasts here, Blind Knowledge, blindknowledge.com. Let me tell you, man, we got some good podcasts happening. That's okay, McBeef. I went into a promo. Oh, the other thing I'm learning is no one can hear this music right, so I'm just going to shut that off because I've been doing that wrong, apparently. But big shout out over to Adam, TFTAK podcast, one of the top, what is it? Multiple number ones. And I don't even know the categories offhand because I didn't get to prep because of the fucking green screen. But nevertheless, shout out to TFTAK. That's Thomas, Franklin, Thomas, Apple, Kaiser. TFTAK podcast. Shout out over there. Multiple number ones in multiple categories. Awesome dude, awesome host, awesome vibe. New member of Blind Knowledge. You can listen to TFTAK podcast everywhere. Basically everywhere, from the moon to the sun to Mars, and also on Spotify, Apple, Podbean, and soon blindknowledge.com. So thanks again, Adam. We love you very much. And maybe we'll have you on soon with me, Beef Chest. And we'll talk things. Nevertheless, okay, that didn't work. So I'm learning as I go, brother. I started in college radio and then in what is it called? Not podcasting, but internet radio. And then podcasting. But this video thing, man, I don't even want to look at myself. I'm hideous. I don't know.
No, I hate it. I hate looking at myself.
But it's almost like we have to do it. Like these are the YouTube clips. These are the TikTok things. And it's a way to really, I don't know. We're all kind of stuck in our houses or have been since COVID and, video. It's like all we have. I can almost feel you, McBeef Chest. I can almost touch you and hug you. And human contact would be fantastic. But anyway, let's get more into what you do, bro.
Sure.
Chuck, we were talking before we came on the air. The name Chunk McBeef Chest. First of all, every time I think about it, I say it, I type it, I laugh, and I just like
that's the goal.
Why? Chunk McBeef Chest. It just has a great ring to it. And I always picture like this pudgy black and white cartoon character that's just like Chunk McBeef Chest. Like, I am king of the mountain. I am king of the schoolyard. I am Chunk McBeef Chest. Chunk McBeef Chest. And I gotta know, man, you don't look like a Chunk McBeef Chest. Totally.
No, I think Chunk McBeef Chest is an attitude more than anything else.
It's
certainly an attitude I carry with me everywhere I go.
I dig that, man. So why Chunk McBeef Chest? Give us some background on this.
There is an old show, you could probably still find it bits on the internet, called Mystery Science Theater 3000. And what they would do is take old, really bad, usually TV shows. They had 3 characters sat in the front row in a pretend theater, and they ripped on the movie. So it was just a comedy thing. And it was one of my favorite things in the world. It started public access, got onto Comedy Central, and it went on for like 10 years. And
it was on Comedy Central? Damn.
It was on Comedy Central for the last 3 or 4 years it existed. And then all those guys went off and did different versions of the exact same thing. So there's a website called Riff Tracks where you can download their commentary to play over the movie you're watching. So if you want like more modern movies and stuff. They did one episode called Space Mutiny, which is again sort of showing the quality of film that they're talking about.
Space Mutiny.
It was like an action 80s movie on a spaceship, but the spaceship was clearly just like a brewery. But that's what they did in the 80s, right? Like it looks like a factory, so now we'll call it a spaceship. Fair. Every time the main character came on screen, they gave him a new name, and it was this rhythm. So it was da 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 da. So I put it up on the screen in the back for me. There's slab bulkhead, fridge McLarge meat, punt speed chunk, butch deadlift. But you can see like they've just found a pattern that's funny. Thick McRun fast.
Thick McRun fast. I like that. That makes me think of diarrhea.
Yeah. Brick hard meat.
Yes.
So like all of those I enjoyed, but I wanted when I was coming up with a screen name, I wanted to come up with my own. But I wanted to use that sort of rhythm, that sort of feeling. And so Chunk McBeef Chest just kind of like ended. I don't even know how I got it. It just was like, this sounds right to me. And that became the thing.
Professor McBeef hanging out with me. I'm Joey B. This is Chunk McBeef Chest. This is Knowledge's Degree here at Blind Knowledge, blindknowledge.com. Appreciate y'all listening to this. This is all about pumping up and promoting and showing everyone what we got going on the inside here at Blind Knowledge. Chunk, Mr. McBeef, Professor Chest, Peter, if I may.
Peter's good.
Peter Martin, everyone. Peter Martin. He's a good man. He is 75 years old, and he is still Chunk McBeef Chest. So, but we gotta talk about the gaming. You're a big gamer.
I am. It's my social aspect of life now that we can't really go out and do stuff anymore. Since the pandemic, it's taken a much more forward step. And I started streaming. It wasn't even that long ago, like 6 months or a year ago.
Wow. Okay.
It's basically my friend and I decided every Friday night we were going to do a co-op session. So we just play a game together. And it's just talking. Fun. Yeah. It was just us talking though. And then people drop in. We got a guy in Saudi Arabia. He seems to drop in every time and just talk to us. He just loves hanging out. And this is it. It's building that small community. The Twitch has been really good for that. It's been a lot of fun. We've had people join us in games. We have people who come and watch regularly. That's been growing. It's not massive growth, but again, I think target demographic of Twitch and this don't match up very much, but
fair.
They get some good banter between me and my friend. And that's maybe what people end up hanging around for once they see it.
That's cool. Well, at least you're not a Cyclops. You know? Could be worse. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. It's all about community too, and it's a great way. Like, I joke about Halo, but I remember we used to play. I was in this band in high school band, like legit garage band. Did pretty well, actually. We're a lot of fun, too. So much fun. And when we were done practicing or done with the show, we didn't party. We didn't drink. I was like 16, 17, and I was like a good student, like went to Catholic school, all this shit, all boys school. Tuck in your shirts, shave, all that shit. After band practice or after we would play a show or whatever we did, normally we'd hit Wendy's, get 4 junior bacon cheeseburgers each, definitely, obviously. And then we would usually go to my house because my mom used to work nights, and we'd set up 4 TVs in 4 different rooms and run LAN games. And it was just so much fun. And it sounds like now in this new realm of gaming, this Twitch thing, it sounds like you found some momentum in that.
Well, we were playing anyways. And then I was looking to turn my podcast into video, which I hadn't done yet. So I podcasted for about 4.5 or 5 years. I hadn't done any video. Everyone's telling me, put it on YouTube, put on video. I didn't really want to, because again, I didn't really want to stick my face on camera, but
I understand that.
Twitch seems like I was like, I'm going to record it. I might as well stream it. So that's when I started Twitch. And then I'm like, well, I'm already streaming. the software and everything's already set up, so I might as well stream my gameplay sessions sometimes. Again, there was no intent.
Just do it live
at the beginning.
Fuck it, we'll just do it live. That's my attitude, at least.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna screw up, I'll just screw up in front of fucking everybody.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But then I could download the video and edit it into little video clip videos that are way more fun because it's only the good bits, and it's just me and 90% of it's me and my friend ripping on each other and making stupid jokes. But again, that is kind of why people are there in the first place.
Yeah.
Certainly not. They're not there for the gameplay.
Well, I've seen some clips. I mean, I'm not much of a gamer, but I laughed like when you ran into the train. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was awesome. Yes. Especially after being warned, don't run into the train.
And then just directly right into the train.
That's how it goes.
It was like a puppy dog trying to still learning how to like get trained. It was like
figuring this stuff out.
Sit, bolts. Another dog down the street. That's cool, man. That's cool. Have you always been into video games? Big Nintendo guy? You know, Japan.
I think my father made a huge mistake because I got a thing called a Gemini, which was supposed to take Atari cartridges and some other cartridge.
I have heard of that. Yeah.
So I had a paper route and I saved up like months and months and months and months. This thing was like $100 and I bought it myself. And my parents were really against me getting a video game system because they thought this was a waste of time and money. Now, this being some weird knockoff Chinese product, in like 2 weeks it broke. And I didn't understand warranties or that I could get it back or anything. And my dad's just like, well, that's what you get. You know, you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. That's what you get.
Damn.
But I think that made me obsessed with getting consoles and games and stuff in the future. Because if he had just let me play, games were so shit back then that I would have got bored of them. Because I had The Empire Strikes Back, which was a little ship, and then it flew forward, and then you found a walker, and you went do, and then you just did the next one, and that's it. It was just looped.
And this is on Gemini.
This was an old Atari game. But
Atari. Yeah, I had
Atari.
Atari.
Shit. It was so boring.
That's the thing. Yeah. Space Commanders, and it's all the same game.
If he just let me play those, I would have been like, well, this isn't fun. I would have quit. But because I had this gap until I got to like university when I started getting computers and money and stuff, and I could buy things. By that time, I was like, the most amazing thing in the world is to own video games. So I actually think my dad disciplining me made a mistake. That's what he did. He actually set an obsession in motion.
A fetish.
Yeah, almost. This is that's how fetishes come from, man.
It is.
And
it is usually like an embarrassing thing or like something that's denied from you or something. I mean, like I got
that. In my house, so there's an Xbox 360, a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 4, a Switch. Like we got everything you can get. Is just and it's just lifestyle now.
Yeah. So when you stream, you're doing
PlayStation 4, yeah.
PlayStation 4. Wow. Yeah, I was a big Atari guy, you know, when I was 3, 4 years old, I think maybe. But I remember having an Atari. We had like a couple games, and then I had a Nintendo. And then I had a Super Nintendo because my cousins, I'm big Irish family, dude. You know, things get passed down. Ended up with like 3 big boxes of Super Nintendo games, more than I would ever be able to even understand. But we used to have this big, and I don't know if you remember this. You might. No one ever does. But there used to be this game called Short Order Explode.
No, I don't think so. Because again, that might be the gap now for me. Is that game probably came out when I wasn't playing.
I don't know if I can't remember, and I'd Google it, but I don't want to. I'm not touching anything. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
But Short Order Explode. It was either on the original Mario. I'm sorry, the original Mario. It was either on NES, the original Nintendo, or it was on SNES, and it might have just been NES. But nevertheless, Short Order Explode. Basically, there was a mat. You had this mat. And the mat was used for another game too. It was like this athletic game where you could run up and down, and it was like 4x4 on the buttons, kind of like Dance Dance
Revolution. Yeah,
yeah. It's the same mat. It's almost like they took the idea, maybe, but you know, good things get passed down. Is that my phone or yours? Anyway, this must be Mina. Oh yeah, Mina! Shout out to Mina. Mina's new. Mina's gonna be with us. She's
excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, she's a journalist. She's Australian, and she's
relentless.
She's interrupting. Yeah, she's relentless. Got to talk to this girl, McBeef. Settle her down. Bringing in the beef, the chunkster, the guy. Where's I going with this? Oh yeah, so the pad, short or explode. That was the name of the game. You had a mat, and basically you'd run, and you'd have to like jump to like A4, B1. You know, almost like Twister, but you know, Dance Dance Revolution style. And it was you had to make the sandwich, so you'd have the bun, the lettuce, the tomato. It was more interactive. And it's where I'm going with this is like we've gone from that step and that stage to like the arcades. I don't know if you guys had arcades like in Japan and in Canada. Yeah.
Of course.
So there was that community interaction. That was the community, you know? And then we kind of went up to like Halo kind of thing, like I was talking about, where we just have 4 TVs and all these teenagers running havocly when my mom would work nights. Sorry, Mom. But now you have this Twitch thing going, and I see you on there all the time. And you know, we have a lot of people in blind knowledge, and there are just a lot of people out there probably watching right now that love Twitch. Do you have any advice for these folks? Because I know you've only been on it for a little while, but it seems like you have kind of this steady growth, and you're on there and you have like a good setup. You're ready to go. You know, you always get McBeef. You know, I know McBeef is coming on. I got an alert on my phone. I check it out. It's McBeef. Yeah. And that's really, what you want. Any advice out there for someone just listening, like, wow, I could be McBeefy. I
think really all these things, people got to really understand why they're doing it. Like I never went into Twitch or anything expecting to grow or make money. It was just a way for me to interact with my friends. And then if other people drop in and become friends, that was great. So there's no loss. And that's maybe one of the bigger things is people go in. I was like, I want to get 1,000 people subscribe to me in a couple months, and I want to make money. I want this to be my job. That is like rock stars and stuff. Like you cannot expect that to happen. And like you just said, growth is so slow because discoverability on all these things is so small. Like unless you're starting to put yourself out there.
How do you even put yourself out there on Twitch? I wouldn't even know. Multiple platforms, I would guess, like TikTok.
Yeah, multiple platforms. And then, but if you do want to grow, so the reason people keep coming back to the ones I do is I'll talk to people. And the guy I stream with most often, he joins in the conversation. So it's not me and him talking. It's me and him talking to you.
Yeah.
And that's what people, that's what I'm saying. People stay for that. Like they come, they drop in, they talk, but they keep coming back because they're like, oh yeah, I come on the same time almost every night. We play for like an hour, maybe 2 hours before bedtime. That's basically like 10 to 12. That's basically my window for when the kids are doing their stuff or going to bed and I have some quiet time. And he's the same. So, but consistency means like, oh, I know, like in an hour, they're going to be playing a game. They're going to be talking to each other like they're idiots. They're going to be insulting each other. They're going to rip on someone for not being good, but it's fun to watch. And then if I jump in and make a comment, they respond to me like I'm there. And that makes a huge difference.
They become part of.
Yeah.
Then there's this growth of, it's like they're a part of, they're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I can't relate, unfortunately, but I can relate kind of podcast style and podcast wise. Like every Friday at 10, I think it's 12 now. They moved it, but every Friday at high noon, right? My favorite podcast gets released. I know it. I'm ready for it. And when it's not there by 10:30 or now 12:30, I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? The whole vibe's thrown off now, McBeef. I can't get my podcast. But yeah, consistency is so important, and you're probably not even doing it to be consistent. It's just like I just want a game.
I got a couple hours a day when I can do what I want.
I got a wife and kids. I got a job. Let me fucking game. Let me talk to some folks.
Yeah, but I have a friend who's in the same situation, so it's like we set times and we do it, and then it's consistent. And then the family doesn't bug us because they know, oh, he's got his 2 hours or his hour of game time.
What's your wife think about it?
It's interesting because she's come around. At first, she was one of these people who thought video games was a waste of time. So I ran an experiment on it.
Like your dad.
Yes, but she didn't understand it first. So she was one of these people like, how can you play that for 2 hours? And the thing is, when I'm playing a video game for 2 hours, she was watching Japanese dramas for 2 hours or some television, which is not bad, but in my mind, more passive. So to me, it's not worse, but it's like, you can't really say one's better than the other. You can't complain about me playing a video game if you're watching TV. Yeah. So I played video games for an hour, and then I marked when she actually said something like, "Oh, you've been playing that all day" or something. And then I watched.
Mental note.
No. I wrote it down. I did an Excel sheet.
Oh, you wrote it down.
Oh, you don't insult me, man. I will excel you into next week. So then I watched
beef coming out spicy.
I watched a TV show, and then I marked down when she said anything, but she didn't say anything because TV in her mind was acceptable. And then I sat staring at a blank screen, and she didn't say anything. And then I made a PowerPoint, and I said, "Look, here's your reaction time. This is clearly a bias that you hold that is no longer accurate. It's not fair. I don't see how the value of a Japanese drama that I can predict the ending of because they're so formulaic is better than me doing something that's interactive." And
did you have a pointer? Did you have like
I had a laser pointer, yeah. And she didn't. She saw that my point was valid, and we didn't have an argument. She actually says it's very hard to argue with me.
You know your shit, man. You know your shit.
I'll collect data before I argue with you, and it's data on you.
I'm the same way. If it's an argument or a disagreement that I don't know, and this is common life lesson. I'm younger than you, but I've learned you're better off being quiet and not being the loud guy, especially if you don't know what you're talking about. If you know what you're talking about, go for it, dude. It's your time in the sun and the spotlight, go for it. But if you don't know what you're talking about, don't try to bullshit it. Look it up, research it, figure it out, and then come with the smoke. Come at them with it, man. Because then at least you can cite and you know what you're talking about, and you can, make an honest and truthful effort.
What you run into most of the time is people actually suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is a study they did. It's a psychology study, and they found the problem with most people is they think they know more than they do. So they basically, if you have 100 people and you say, "Are you above average intelligence?" almost all of them say yes, which is statistically impossible. You're all average intelligence.
I'm actually very, very high intelligence. I always click that box.
But that's what I mean. Like, if you were smart, you would know what the criteria for being smart is. So you would actually probably scale down. Be like, I know you have to be able to do A, B, and C to call myself smart. They did it with people who just math. They're like, "Are you good at math?" And people would say yes, and they would say, "Well, now you're going to do a math test," and they would do really poorly. Okay. And then they would always blame something else, something external. But really, the core issue is you don't know what you're talking about. The hardest thing to do to a person is convince them that they suck so bad that they then start to improve. Because once they realize they're bad at something, they can start making steps to correct it. But
there's two ways to go with that, McBeef Chest.
But your self-image is built on that, and that's the problem.
Cookies in the air. We don't care, McBeef. Knowledge is degree. My name's Joey B. Before I give any more info on that, and before we bring back the chunky one, I just want to give a special shout out over to my boys. One's in Germany. We have the lady over in India, and all the folks over at the Abby Normals podcast. Yo, you got to check out the Abby Normals. If you like Zeus and Odysseus and Greek mythology, the Id, the Iliad, that kind of historical / not real stuff. I guess maybe it was real, maybe it isn't, probably not, but just that kind of style. How can I say it? They don't just go down that path though. Greek mythology. It's a great episode though. The Trojan Horse one is actually a really, really good episode. I joke and I kid, but a great podcast. The Abby Normals, check them out. They're on Podbean. That's their monetization wheel. So check them out there. Give them a couple bucks. Click on it, download it, give you 2 cents. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Hit up Alex. You can hit him up through me. Let me know what you think, because that's a blind knowledge headliner right there. He's been with me since the beginning. So definitely check out Abby Normal's podcast, Spotify, Twitter, Apple Music. What do you guys got over there in Japan, McBeef? You guys got Spotify, Apple? Basically,
well, Spotify is the biggest platform for listening to music and stuff. So that would be the biggest one. Apple's pretty huge. Japanese people love the iPhone.
Me too.
It's pretty big. Google is not the biggest product. So Yahoo's still a thing here.
I
So,
fucking hate Yahoo with a
well,
fucking.
you can't get away from it.
Oh,
It's a massive company.
I know. I can't get away from it, McBeef. I've been trying for years and years of my life. You know, they were great. You know, they were the thing. I still have my Joey B
At
fucking
Yahoo, yeah.
email.
They
Fantasy football is great. Now they just creep up on you. Now they just randomly switch my fucking browser. I'm on Yahoo. I can't find anything. Not like I can find anything on fucking Google anymore either, but that's beside the point. Sorry for ranting, Big
no,
Beef.
it's all right.
Continue with Yahoo.
I
Why is
just
it so great? Why is
I'm
it
not
so
a fan of
fantastic?
Yahoo either.
Okay, good. Fuck Yahoo. Why is it big over there? What's the deal?
Well, so in most countries they were just like some kind of internet provider and stuff or internet services. Here they actually have gotten into smartphones and stuff. They actually produce smartphones in Japan.
No shit.
So it's a massive communications company. So like the internet will be a Yahoo company. There's SoftBank is a big communications company. That's basically a Yahoo company. There's Y Mobile. It's mobile internet. So they've Japan is often referred to as a sort of a Galapagos situation where, because just the environment, the ecosystem is always just isolated and different. And so things survive here that just don't survive anywhere else, or things happen here that just don't happen anywhere else.
Or people
so
run away. Google, I'm sorry, not Google, but people like Yahoo run away from the US to Japan for prosperity, it sounds like.
But I mean, the company's, it's going.
How does that happen? Why is Japan like kind of have its own? I mean, you guys have a great economy. You know, you have a lot of good things happening money wise, but yeah, why does that happen? It's like a shell. It's like Japan is its own thing.
They just chalk it up to culture. The culture has been isolated. It's an island. It's separate, and the Japanese people in general consider themselves different from everyone else. And there's
different how?
Well, there's a certain
Now are you Japanese?
I am not. I've never fallen down the hole. I've not gone full native yet.
Okay.
No, they'll tell you that.
You're Canadian, aren't you?
I was born in the UK, and then we moved to Canada when I was a little kid. So I don't have an Irish accent or anything.
Okay. So UK to wow. I was going to say you're from Wisconsin, but
no, it was UK to Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver, Victoria. I've spent some time in Europe, and then I went to Korea, and then I came to Japan.
Why the bouncing around? Were you army brat or?
I was doing judo.
Oh, you were traveling doing judo?
Yeah. So after university,
that's right.
I decided, I was like, okay, I can't get to the Olympics because my hand messed up. It ended my career, but I can still go to all those places and do it. So I went around. I went to Ireland, England, and Spain, and France, and did judo there. And then I went to Korea and did judo there. And then I came to Japan. I didn't intend to stay. I was like, I'll do 2-3 years in Japan, get that. That's the final experience. And then got married and stuff. So I had a really good lifestyle here.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. McBeef. Wow. That's actually pretty cool, man. So you met the love of your life. Yeah. And now you're just stuck in the bubble that is Japan.
Yeah, but it's
or maybe not stuck. Maybe you're just
the internet. Stuck. Yeah, I'm happy here. The internet has made everything is just like
thank God.
This conversation we can have right now.
I'd never have met you, dude. Yeah. And I've never met most of the people with blind knowledge, or just most of the people I've talked to. And like, you know, the job, not only do I have blind knowledge, but I also, blind knowledge is really new for anybody out there. It's so new. It started literally Thanksgiving, 11/29, and the damn website isn't even up yet. Fucking A, but never mind. It'll be up by March 5th. I swear to God, even if it's me naked running around, it'll be up. But McBeef. I work for a green energy company on the side. And they're in Seattle and I'm in Florida. I mean, that's, for anyone that doesn't know, it's 3,000 miles away. Without the internet, you know, no chance. And it's a great gig. It's a great gig. Let's talk about your podcast, dude. You do 2 podcasts. You do Chunk McBeef Chest. Yes. You also do Ninja News Japan.
Yes.
So let's get into that. Let's start with let's see, do I have a coin? Flip a coin. Well, let's start with Chunk McBeef Chest. What premise? What do you do on there? What's up with that?
So every couple months I have an idea for a new podcast, and I want to do it. And then I realized like you can't make 50 podcasts, because there was a time I was actually running 5 at the same time.
Oh, you can. You'll never sleep again, but you
Oh
can.
yeah, but that's what I mean. I got to do other stuff as well. So I was like, okay, Chunk McBeef Chest. It's actually shortened to C McBee on the website. But,
C McBee.
C McBee. It's easy to remember. The first podcast I made, the problem was no one could remember the name. And so I was like, I'm gonna rebrand. I'm gonna do it right. C McBee, Chunk McBeef Chest. No one forgets those.
So catchy. It's such a good brand. It's I swear to God, man. You can
talk about branding. I'm wearing the shirt right now.
Yeah, get yourself a Chunk McBeef Chest shirt. Check them out, chunkmcbeefchest.com. I think you should get lanyards, man. This has been my new thing. First thing I want made is blind knowledge lanyards, and I want them to extend like this.
Nice.
Because my vapes, these are my vapes, and you could just put it right around you. Right.
I like you have multiple vapes.
Multiple vapes. Yeah, oh yeah. Sometimes I have tri-vapes going on. Indicas, sativas, jewels, my glasses, lighter, condoms. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another conversation. We'll talk about escorts sometime, McBeef. We'll talk about escorts. So back to your podcast.
Yes. So what I wanted to do was I really wanted to do multiple podcasts, but knew it just wasn't going to work out. So I decided C McBee was going to be 3 podcasts, but just in one feed. So the first week is a topic. And so far it's been mostly pop culture stuff. Like one of the first questions that a friend sent me was, if Bruce Banner put on adamantium pants and turned into the Hulk, what would happen? Would the pants explode but adamantium is the strongest substance in the Marvel universe, or would he be crushed? So I answer that question.
Hold on. Sorry. I know I keep interrupting, but what was your answer with that one, dude?
Well, the problem is the first question is, what kind of pants is he wearing? Are they jeans? And then how I talk about how the stitching would have to work. There's a bunch of things you got to consider before you can actually get to the answer. And then does he expand all at once? Because he's only wearing pants, it actually would make most sense that the pressure would push him out through the pants.
What if he has a full bladder versus a bladder?
That's a different thing. When the Hulk transforms, there's a really interesting question: is where does all that mass come from? So my theory is actually it has to come basically from water out of the air, because most of your muscles in your body is actually mostly water. So his expansion he pull water out of the air, and then he can expand. The thing is, though, when he turns back into Bruce Banner, he should either pee extensively or vomit. Like that mass has to come back out again. So where does it go?
It has to go somewhere.
It doesn't disappear. But then I decided we need to change the premise. So I put Bruce Banner in an adamantium box that was sealed. And that's how you get it. And then you actually would end up, he would continue to get angry, continue to expand, and then collapse in on himself and create a black hole. And that is the answer.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that's it. You have something, it'll collapse on itself if it keeps expanding. So it becomes a black hole.
What is it? Adamantium is
what the Wolverine's claws are made of.
Oh yeah, badass.
Yeah, so that's the stuff that covers. Wolverine's a whole different thing. If all his bones are covered in adamantium, why doesn't he have silver teeth?
That's a good question.
They didn't cover his teeth for some reason, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a. I never thought of that.
No one does.
Teeth are what?
They're bones.
Teeth aren't bones. They're teeth.
It's calcium. It's the same stuff.
Yeah, well.
But if you're coating a skeleton in metal, you don't not coat the teeth. Like that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and how does Wolverine go to a dentist?
Yeah, well, I assume because he regenerates, he just pulls it out and a new one grows in. He doesn't need. See, this is the C McBee podcast right here. That first week is just give me a question. I will go at it so hard, but.
That's cool.
Wolverine could do a lot more good if he actually cut out his liver and donated it to science every week. He could because he just regenerates another one. So why isn't he saving people who have liver problems? Go to a hospital and donate everything, grow it back, donate everything. He's got to be a universal donor.
He would be the universal.
Yeah. So Wolverine's kind of a dick.
Kind of a douchebag.
He's not saving people he could be saving.
He's got to be the top character in Marvel. What did you think?
Probably. He's the Canadian one, so yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Americans don't like that. They don't like that he's Canadian. They tried to retcon that at one point.
I don't know. I don't get into all that. I just know Wolverine's badass. What's the one that shoots the lasers out of his eyes? Is that Cyclops?
Cyclops, yes.
Yeah, that guy's badass too. My top three: Wolverine, Cyclops, and then the dude with the cards.
Oh, I know who you mean. He's
Gambit.
Gambit.
Badass. He's like a cowboy. Yo, I'm all about that, dude. And then Storm, because she's fucking dope.
She's hot.
Ooh,
so that's week one.
Yes.
And then, so that's it. Mostly like pop culture light stuff. The second week, I did C. McBee Reads. And C. McBee Reads is just a basically different format where I take something. Before it was I took something and just read it off the internet and then did the same thing, like analysis and make fun of it. Okay. But this is the third or fourth week of me reading a free Amazon book called Caveman Aliens Ransom. And
Caveman Aliens Ransom.
Yeah,
free
so
book.
they picked up some girls off Earth and dropped them on a planet with dinosaurs and cavemen.
Of course they did.
Yeah, we were about to get to a sex scene at the end of the chapter I was reading last time. And then I know I don't know if I'm comfortable reading it is the problem. I might get all like flustered.
Ooh, I already am. I'm getting a little wet.
And then the third week is C. McBee Thinks, and it's just going to be current stuff from the internet.
C. McBee. Wow,
yeah, so it's going to be C. McBee Topics, C. McBee Reads, C. McBee Thinks.
Topics, reads, and things. Yo, check out the podcast, C. McBee. Is it Chunk McBeef Chest or just C. McBee?
It's because it's done by Chunk McBeef Chest. Whichever one you search for will come up.
Cool. C. McBee is so chill, so hip and cool. Yep. But Chunk McBeef Chest too. So that's podcast numero uno.
One, yeah, that's crazy. So
what about numero? How do you say two in Japanese?
Dos.
See, yeah. So you got two. So you got C. McBee, and then you have Ninja News Japan, which
Ninja
I
News
think
Japan.
Is fascinating.
Yeah, I basically just read the news all the time. So I'm in
Japanese
Japan.
News, and it's real news, right?
Oh yeah. It's that week. Like there's nothing. If it's more than a week old, I'm not touching it. I'm trying to get a broad range of news. I don't want to just do because of course COVID. It's COVID. I've actually put like a little kibosh on that. I'm not going to do COVID news unless it's particularly interesting.
Yeah, because I think we're all kind of done with COVID.
Yeah, people want to get away from it. So I collect some maybe some politics, maybe some international politics. I do like skeevy crimes. They're the most fun. Just last week,
Japanese crimes.
Oh my God. This is where Japanese people are the worst, because the story that I ended off with just last Tuesday was a 50-year-old man walked up to a high school girl who was browsing in a store, got down on his hands and knees and started licking her sneakers.
Real life?
Yeah. He got arrested for that. And it's like, again, my take on it is like, well, what did you think was going to happen? You think she'd be like, oh, well, that's nice. And just be like,
he didn't know her? Just
stranger. His fetish overtook him and he got down, just started licking her shoe.
Some BDSM shit going on there. Damn.
Yeah, it's insane. So like panty theft is a pretty common issue in the summertime here.
Really? Yep. Dudes, just Japanese dudes, or just people that live male in Japan?
Yeah, skeevy Japanese dudes, man.
Skeevy Japanese dudes taking panties.
They don't. No, they're clean because they don't use dryers. They have laundry machines, but they don't have dryers in Japan. They hang dry everything. So these guys will. Oh. These guys will climb up on your balcony, take a little underwear, and run off. It's a really common crime in Japan.
Why? They throw them on their heads? Do they fucking wank off them? Or?
I think there's two groups there. I think there's the people who do touch them, and then there's the people who would the stealing of it is the thrill.
They
so there's the tactile people, right? And then there's the people who it's the crime itself, the concept of stealing it is what appeals to them. That's got to be it.
Okay. All right, let me just try to summarize here. We got some skeevy Japanese dudes, or are they all just males that live in Japan, or is it
it's usually older guys.
Or I get all of Japan hating me. All right, so we got some older generational males.
They can't hate you. This is fact.
They can't hit me?
They can't hate you.
Oh, hate? Why?
It's facts, man. They did it.
Well, no. Hold on. We don't want any hate from the skeevy touchers. So we have skeevy touchers that
I
basically
think
they take the women's undergarments,
a
if you
little bit
believe,
of that.
and they just kind of.
I think it's the feel is what gets them going.
So we got the touchy feely dudes, and then we have the ones that just do it for the rush, basically.
I think a lot of the gross crimes that I do talk about, and again, I do talk about like why would you do this or what's the psychology behind it. We never get an answer, but it's the interesting part.
It is interesting.
Some people, it's just like I'm doing something that's socially unacceptable. I'm doing the thing that I know is wrong.
I can see teenagers having that kind of thing, at least here in the U.S. Like, there's always a rebellion stage.
I think the repressive nature of Japanese culture is it breaks you over time. This is why these old men, they're like, I can do whatever I want now. I've passed all that, and then they don't realize, no, you can't do whatever you want.
So they just, the old men, they're just like, they have the case of the fuckets, and they just get down on their knees and start licking sneakers.
Yep.
Was the chick hot at least?
She was underage, so you don't get a name or a picture or anything.
Never mind.
Oh no, this is Japan.
Jesus.
Underage
that's a lot of bad things now. It's not even just
it's so much
sex fetish shit. That's some pedophile shit.
But
damn,
again,
that'll get me arrested, McBeef, if we keep going.
But the fetishization of young people, women especially, is really strong here. It's gross.
I would say I have maybe once or twice gandered into some Japanese porn, maybe a couple times
for research,
20,000 million times. Yeah, just for research. Usually just take the highlighter out. I always wanted the job. Oh God, never mind. I was gonna say I always wanted the job of putting in the censorship. So when you see the girl naked,
the pixelization.
Pixel is what's up with that? That's a whole way? Maybe we shouldn't.
That comes from the end of World War II, where they created morality laws, and one of the things they decided, and it's really weird, they said you can't show pubic hair. They didn't say vagina or anything like that.
You can see her butthole, but the pubic hair is off limits.
Pubic hair is what they defined as obscene. So that's actually
so weird.
But then if you think about it, in comics, what they did to get around that was they started drawing younger girls who don't have pubic hair. And so they could show a naked form of a young girl. And that, I think, is where the fetishization of young women came from in Japan, was actually this morality law pushed the age down. But yeah, then the pixelization, it's just they just decided like any organ and stuff is just, you can't show it, it's illegal. So they pixelize it.
So it's gone from pubic hair, and now the butthole is just pixelized too.
Yeah,
the vajayjay.
I actually think you can see a butt. I'm not sure.
McBeef, we're gonna need some research on that, dude. From Ninja News Japan, we're talking Ninja News Japan.
I'll get a team on it.
Yeah, we're gonna need Leslie DiCaprio and the rest of your squad on there. But also, we're going to need to know, have you researched or looked into the inquiry that I had about the massive new King Burger, or fuck it, Burger King?
Yes.
Fuck it. Burger King, it's like a pound burger. It's like four patties.
It's 4 patties to make 1 pound of beef. Yeah. It's basically... and it's got Gouda cheese. I looked into it a bit. It's got Gouda cheese and it's actually 2 kinds of cheese. And then it's got pickles and some mayonnaise. And they don't have a Burger King within a reasonable distance of me. It's actually a pretty rare restaurant in Japan.
You're going to have to get something over to you, McBeef.
Yeah, you would have to go to Tokyo or something, which is just too much of a trip. But there is a website called Rocket News 24 that's actually pretty good. They sort of, the Venn diagram of what I do and they do overlaps a lot. They sent someone out to go eat one and see if they could finish it. That's what
I was hoping for you. I just wanted like a hookup on, how big is that monster? Because that thing looks so big. It's so much disgusting.
But that's advertising. Advertising's always so deceptive. So I actually bet it's big, but not as big as it seems. Have you
you probably have, but have you researched and read into like commercials with burgers and fries and like it's not real food,
so the one of the ones I really liked was pizza. They actually screw it down so that the other slices don't come up when they lift the one piece. And they put glue in the cheese to make it stretch longer. So when they pick it up, it stretches the beautiful like link of cheese, but then none of the other pizza raises up because that's actually screwed into the table or whatever they're sitting it on.
Chunk McBeef Chest here. My name is Joey B, and I no longer like pizza. What else can you ruin for me, McBeef? What's going on? God damn it. God damn it, McBeef. Well, I know
every time you see steam on, I know everything. Every time they put steam on something, what they've done is sprayed it and microwaved it. So that to make this, they spray water on it and then they put it in a microwave and put it on the table really quick so that the steam comes up really. So that's been sprayed and it's wet and microwaved.
Aren't the burgers wax?
Oh, probably. Yeah. I doubt that's food.
Oh, it's definitely not food. Yeah. Oh, no way. I think the ketchup is like the devil's blood or something. Like, somewhere we'll figure that out. But I think this is the best way actually to describe any kind of content, any kind of entertainment medium. We have C McB, which is the 3 parts rather, which is hilarious. Check it out. C McB podcast everywhere, Spotify, Apple, Blind Knowledge. And then you have Ninja News Japan. And the reason why I like Ninja News Japan so much, and I like both. If I didn't like them, then I'd skip over this interview. Just being honest with you.
It would be a boring conversation if you didn't like them.
It would be. Yeah, you'd be talking to yourself, basically, Pete. Yeah, and that's big for me. Like when I'm trying to figure out who's going to come into this thing, who's going to stick around, who's down to go through some highs and lows with me that, sometimes I have no control over. There are certain people like yourself, and some others too. Everyone's kind of growing organically right now. Like even just gaming, bro. You got that going on. You have the 2 podcasts. You have the Velocipod. That was the Velocipod.
Velocipodcast was the first one I made.
Yep. Which I dug that. I thought that was great. But I see why you wanted to kind of revolutionize, kind of bring it 2.0 with McBeef or C McB.
Yep.
The spicy, chunky McBeef. So, but getting back to Ninja News, like over here in the US, dude, I don't know what's going on in Japan. I'd love to know. I was just watching something on India the other day and I just kind of got like sucked into the wormhole. Like that's some cool shit. The news over here in the US right now is atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious. And it's part of the reason why I started Blind Knowledge. It's like you just get this repetitive bullshit all day for 8 hours, man. I'm working over here, I work from home, 6-7 hours, I think it was. Same fucking same story. The same fucking story for like 6 or 7 hours. And I'm not really watching it. It's in the background. I get the music on, but it's just like this visual thing that I'll look up and see it, just like subconsciously. And it's the same thing. And it's just like this, like who the fuck cares about Stormy McDaniels or Stormy Daniels and her fucking lawyer and her big tits and Trump and blah, blah, blah. No one gives a fuck, man. Let's talk about how leukemia is being, fucking cured right now. I think that's some cool shit. Let's talk about Louis Bonnie disease or something like that, or I might have it wrong. It's the one that Robin Williams unfortunately died from. And someone else has it too. I can't think of it, but it's a form of dementia. I think it's Louis Bonnie. But nevertheless, it's like we can use some info on that. So getting back to you, McBeef, Chunky McBeef, and your podcast, Ninja News Japan, you're giving us some insight over here that you may realize that, you may not, because I would think, like for me, if I did a U.S. current events news thing, Joey B with the news, U.S., you probably either already heard it or you don't care, or it just wouldn't go the same way. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But nevertheless, like I myself and people educated, especially people with degrees and schooled and just, some smart fellows and women and our non-identifying friends as well. We love you. People like to think, people like to hear different perspectives. People want to know what's going on outside the US. It's a big world. There's 162 countries still. Maybe
no idea. Honestly, I don't know.
Taking those numbers down. Yeah, that's crazy shit. But Ninja News Japan, Chunk McBeef Chest, knowledge's degree. We have been talking for a minute 10, it seems. 1 minute, 10 seconds, 48 milliseconds. Not bad. We got a lot out in that kind of time.
Yep.
Usually I cut these off around a half hour, an hour. I appreciate you taking the time, Pete. Pete Martin, also known as Chunk McBeef Chest. Check him out, chunkmcbeefchest.com. Has 2 podcasts here. Blind Knowledge does C McBee, does Ninja News Japan. Both are fantastic. I highly recommend them. If I didn't, I wouldn't have said it. So definitely go check it out. And if you don't like it, hit me up on Discord, JoeyB1143. I'll pass the message along to Mr. Chunk. The guy, the seedy one, the beefy, the juicy, the lovely Chunk McBeef Chest. The next time we talk, Peter, man, we got to talk religion because
Absolutely.
we never got back to it. That's why, I was like, because for anyone that doesn't know, we do, everyone, you know, in this industry, at least for me, I always do a prep. You know, it's always like, hey, how you doing? What can we talk about? Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes if I don't like it, we just go right into it and then I get funky. But, you know, normally that's what I do. When we were talking religion, I was saying, you know, I took 4 years of theology and you were like, well, I'm fucking from hell. I'm Satan's son or something, whatever you said, you know, like
something like that. Yeah.
We can dive deep into that shit and that shit, you know, that could, a lot of people could be offended with that, I guess, but I think it's worth throwing it out there just to have that conversation. And if something's off the walls and off the charts, it is what it is. You know, everything should be looked at, and an educated person can make their own opinions.
I think the experiences I've had with religion say a lot about religious people more than the actual religion themselves.
Your whole vibe just got like, you just went pale. As soon as I mentioned religion, we went from like Chunk McBeef to Chunk McBeef. The judo.
Yes.
All right. So what's the beef with religion, Beef?
I don't have one. It's just religion. It depends where you want to start. Religious people.
This is what I mean. We got to do the whole nother show on this.
We probably do.
Let's keep them wanting more, McBeef. Let's keep them.
I had an experience with a girl. I was in Austria for a friend's wedding, and there was a girl, and we were hitting it off, and we were gonna. It was pretty clear we liked each other. We're gonna get together. And then she was talking to her brother, and her brother said, they're talking on the phone, and she goes, "Does he have a good relationship with God?" And she looked at me and goes, "Do you have a good relationship with God?" And I said, "Absolutely not. Not in the way you mean." And of course, that ended it right there.
Didn't even fake it. Just like
no, because. And then she, of course, being a fairly serious religious person, she wanted to like get into it and talk. And I was like, the problem is what you're doing right now is telling me what my relationship with God should be, which is actually antithetical to what your God has said. And of course, they had trouble with that. And I said, like, one of the only things I remember that Jesus said was like, religion doesn't happen in the church. Wherever I go is, you know, my church. And so me going to a place with a guy interpreting the word of God for me, that seems like bullshit.
I agree. I
can figure it out myself. I could have my own relationship. I'm not a big God guy because, again, I've fallen away from the whole religious aspect.
Oh, we have to do a whole fucking show on this because I can bring up some Bible verses. We will have some sing-alongs and we will talk.
The core issue is when I was in Sunday school, they told me that my dog was not going to heaven because my dog didn't have a soul. And I was like, nope, we're done.
It's just ruined it right off the bat.
And they did. I was like, no, we're not. I'm not even talking to you anymore. Apparently I had choice words. As like a whatever 7-year-old swearing at some lady.
Dramatic.
Because if that's their version of heaven, I'm not going. I have no desire to be there.
Chunk, we know you're one of the good ones. Just keep doing the next right thing. And you know what? The universe will spread you wherever you need to be spread. And that's what he said about Chunk McBeef Chest. Thank you so much for joining me, Peter Martin. 2 podcasts, C McBee, Ninja News Japan.